Welcome to Alter Ego Comics TV for the week of whatever today is, March 14th? We'll say March 14th. That's what it is, right? March 14th, 2018. I am flying solo today, as you can see, because Josh is not here. He's off learning things about games and having fun, and he'll be back next week, hopefully, so we can have our regular banter back and forth. So this week, I'm going to be talking about this week's best comics that I enjoyed the most, and it was another really solid week for new comics. Lots of number ones, lots of indie number ones, so I was excited about that. Let's kick things off with, actually, before I get started here, if you want to chime in, let me know that you're out there watching, who you are, where you're from, that sort of thing, and feel free to post questions as we go along, and I will do my best to get to them. So let's start with my pick of the week, which is Infidel, number one. Now, this has an interesting creative team behind it. The name of the writer is Pornsak Pichetshot. I kid you not. Pornsak Pichetshot, I believe that is his name. Great writer. It's a great book. Weird name. Artist is Aaron Campbell on this. This is published by Image Comics, and this is a haunted house story for the 21st century. It is timely and creepy, and just it's great to look at. The artwork is top-notch. This involves a Muslim woman and her American husband and their daughter living in New York, and they just kind of moved into a new apartment, which may or may not be haunted. And it is honestly one of the creepiest things that I've read in a recent memory, but creepy in a good way, if that makes sense. I'm not a big fan of horror, of straight-up horror, I guess. And maybe I'm misspeaking, because I do tend to I just like good stories. If a comic is a good horror story, it doesn't matter to me that it's horror, it just matters that it's a good story. And Infidel is definitely both a good horror story and a good story. Really curious to see where this goes, but I can't really tell you too much about it without spoiling elements of the story. But it's definitely the creepiest thing on the stands this week. It's also, in my opinion, the best story on the stands this week. So I think the cover alone should pull you in. It's got a very unique look to it and a very scary look to it, but don't pass Infidel by this week. It is outstanding. So there's that one. One down, several more to go. Also a new number one. Actually, before I get into this, I want to say hi to Cody. Thanks for watching, sir. You've been with us the last several weeks that we've done this, so we appreciate that. Next up is a new number one from Marvel, The New Mutants, Dead Souls number one. This is written by Matthew Rosenberg with artwork by Adam Gorham. This is a 5-issue limited series focused on the New Mutants, and ignore whether it's in continuity, where the New Mutants are these days, who's a member of the New Mutants. If you're a fan of any of the characters in here, Strong Guy, Richter, Boom Boom, Magic, and Rain, then this is the book for you. Matthew Rosenberg kind of proved his mettle in the Marvel Universe with the Phoenix Resurrection series that wrapped up about a month ago, and now he's back in the world of the mutants with New Mutants Dead Souls. So as I said, 5-issue limited series, and I'm really glad to see both Marvel and DC going back to the limited series format. I think that both publishers were launching ongoing series for characters that didn't necessarily deserve them, where there was no proven track record like character X can support an ongoing series. So I think this is a great way to test the waters and see if there is an audience out there for more New Mutants books by launching a miniseries. So they have become kind of a supernatural mutant investigative force. Think maybe the Scooby Gang on steroids, or Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but in this issue they are investigating a zombie outbreak, and since you've got Magic, who is kind of technically a witch, she definitely is a central figure in this. She's also the leader of the team, and I've been reading these characters since they were introduced back in New Mutants by Chris Claremont and Bob Layton. It's just fun to see them again. It's fun to get Rosenberg's take on them. And there's definitely humor, there's action, and you can jump into this whether you're familiar with these characters or not, but if you do have a soft spot in your heart for the New Mutants, you definitely want to check out New Mutants Dead Souls number 1. I should mention that Matthew Rosenberg also will be writing a Multiple Man miniseries coming up later this year. So he's definitely implanted in Marvel's mutant universe. I'm really looking forward to that. Cody has asked a question: is there any new JSA comic coming out soon? Cody, to the best of my knowledge, there are no new JSA comics on the horizon. However, JSA The Golden Age is coming back into print. So if you've never read James Robinson's JSA The Golden Age, look for the new printing of that next month. It comes out sometime, I believe it's towards the end of April, and that is a must-read. And it kind of goes nicely with DC's The New Frontier as well. All right, let's go to another new number 1. This is called Sea of Thieves, published by Titan Comics, written by Jeremy Whitley, artwork by Roald Marselius. And I will be completely honest, the only reason I picked this comic up this week is because it's written by Jeremy Whitley, and he blew me away on The Unstoppable Wasp. I will read anything that Jeremy writes at this point. He's really well known for his creator-owned property, Princeless, and he has done some other kind of one-off work. I think he did a Champions Annual over at Marvel, but I really like the way that he writes his characters, so I picked this one up, and this apparently is connected to both a board game and a video game called Sea of Thieves, which I know nothing about, and I was still able to enjoy this. This is a pirate adventure with a brother and sister who are the son and daughter of the world's greatest pirate competing with each other to discover lost treasure on the Sea of Thieves. So they're both assembling their crews. A lot of this takes place in a bar where weapons don't work, where guns don't work. There's kind of a magical bar that I guess you would find in Pirates of the Caribbean or Disneyland, Disney World. But some very interesting characters that we get to meet here, and just really cool. I was pleasantly surprised, but this is especially for those of you that enjoy the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I can't think of any other pirate stuff that I would compare it to. Jake and the Neverland Pirates, no, not that. But Whitley does a great job writing these characters that I've never heard of until I picked up this comic. So I was not disappointed. It was fun, and I'm looking forward to the next issue. So Sea of Thieves is published by Titan, and yes, Ed, it is based on the game. So you should check it out. The comic was very, very good. We'll go with another new number 1 this week. This is Vampironica, number 1, written by Greg and Meg Smallwood, with artwork by Greg Smallwood. So Greg and Meg, I believe, are husband and wife. That is Greg and Meg, huh? Josh would have something to say if he was here. Josh, I miss you. But anyway, so Archie Comics has been doing a horror line since Afterlife with Archie, which is outstanding. It is an excellent series. Fell on significant delays and lost a lot of its readers because of it. But the book, there are a couple of volumes out for Afterlife with Archie. I highly recommend them. And then there's a Sabrina, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which is another fantastic horror series from Archie, which will soon be on Netflix. And Jughead the Hunger, which is a werewolf story with Jughead as a werewolf. So these are all very serious books. They feature the Archie universe characters, but not written in the traditional Archie way. They're probably closer to Riverdale than the classic Archie comics. And the latest entry in their horror line is Vampironica. And this shows the origin of Veronica Lodge. And well, not her. It's her origin, her vampire origin, how she becomes a vampire. And the selling point for me on this is the artwork. Greg Smallwood's artwork on Jeff Lemire's Moon Knight run was outstanding. It sold me on the book. I mean, Lemire is a very talented writer, but Smallwood's artwork was equally as important on the Moon Knight series. So to see him drawing something else, I was all fired up for and was not disappointed at all. It turns out that Greg and Meg are very good writers as well, and tell an interesting horror story here, which is, again, a little bit of Buffy the Vampire Slayer sprinkled in here. I guess that's unavoidable when you're talking about high school girls killing vampires. But this is excellent. It's for teens and up. It's just beautiful to look at, folks. I could just sit here and flip through these pages for a long time, and you would get bored and go away. But don't overlook Vampironica #1 this week. And I've been told that it is on schedule, that there will not be delays of like we saw with Afterlife with Archie. So kudos to Archie for trying to stay relevant, and they're doing a good job of it, and kind of taking their characters in interesting new directions. I want to say hi to Jeff for tuning in, and Paul also, thank you for tuning in. I also would love to see a live-action adaptation of the Jeff Lemire, Greg Smallwood Moon Knight run. That would be outstanding. That would be a cool cable television series. So who knows? Moon Knight, I think, is a prime candidate for, the Marvel Netflix universe, because he has been based in New York City, because he's kind of a street-level hero. I think that he would fit in perfectly with Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist. So if you agree, give me some thumbs up and chime in. All right, last single issue recommendations this week is a twofer from our pal Chip Zdarsky. He's not really our pal. I met him once in passing at New York Comic Con about 6 years ago. But I'm going to call him my pal. Chip is one of the best writers working at Marvel right now. His books are steeped in Marvel lore, but filled with humor, and he really knows these characters. He can not only tell funny stories, but tell dramatic stories as well. So first up, let's go with Marvel 2-in-1, #4. This is The Thing and the Human Torch continuing their search for Reed Richards and Sue Richards and their children, who have been missing for quite some time in the multiverse. And this is just all kinds of awesome. So they have a new sidekick, or a new partner in this expedition. I don't remember her name. It's Rachna. She is a scientist. Actually, Ben Grimm refers to her as some kind of super smart forest creature, and she chooses to live in the forest away from idiots. The dialogue in this is top-notch. Spider-Man has some choice lines of dialogue in here. So their first stop in the multiverse is a parallel Earth that features a very different version of Reed Richards and several characters that you may recognize, including Wolverine and She-Hulk. And man, this is just, it's great. Great. It's been great from the get-go, and I highly recommend that more people check this out. Marvel 2-in-1, easily one of the top 5 books that Marvel is publishing right now. Artwork on this one is Valerio Schiti. There, I said it. Valerio Schiti. And, again, written by Chip Zdarsky. So, that's Marvel 2-in-1. Also, we have Peter Parker, The Spectacular Spider-Man #301, also written by Chip Zdarsky. Artwork by Joe Quinones. If you read the last issue, so issue number 300 of Peter Parker, The Spectacular Spider-Man, it ended on a cliffhanger with J. Jonah Jameson, Teresa Maybe Parker, Peter's maybe sister, and Peter going back in time. Well, they end up back to Peter's first probably year or two as Spider-Man, and they run into him and have a great conversation about who they are and where they came from. And Jonah visits himself at the Daily Bugle and says some things that he may not have wanted to actually reveal. Artwork by Quinones is top-notch. This is just so good. It's time travel. It's Spider-Man. It's written by Chip Zdarsky. Go get it. Really, it's all kinds of awesome. All right, so let's see here. I read that they get new costume that debuts as well. New costumes in where? Oh, yes, in Marvel 2-in-1. The Thing and the Human Torch do have new costumes, kind of like track jackets, I guess. No, it's actually a whole costume. So, good stuff. Good stuff. Also, last thing I want to bring to everybody's attention is the latest in the Earth 1 original graphic novel series published by DC Comics. This is Green Lantern Earth 1. Written by Gabriel Hardman and Karina Bechko, with artwork by Gabriel Hardman. I have not had a chance to read this yet, but I'm very excited to do so because I really enjoy Number one, Hardman and Betchko's writing on their sci-fi stories at Dark Horse, their Planet of the Apes stuff that they did over at Boom, and number two, Hardman's artwork is excellent. So I'm looking forward to diving into Green Lantern Earth 1. Highly recommend it. This is the latest in a series that includes 3 volumes of Superman by J. Michael Straczynski, 2 volumes of Batman by Jeff Johns, Wonder Woman by, what's-his-face? Somebody help me out there. I'm drawing a complete blank. The guy that did Final Crisis. Someone will tell me. I can't believe I can't remember this guy's name. But anyway, and Teen Titans by Terry Dodson. I think Jeff Lemire actually wrote that one. So for those of you that don't know, DC's Earth 1 line is designed as if these characters were first being introduced today, kind of similar to Marvel's Ultimate line. These are standalone original graphic novels, so they come out on a much less frequent basis, but lots of love and care put into these. Grant Morrison, thank you, Paul Davis, for letting me know. I kept wanting to say Garth Ennis, and I knew it wasn't Garth Ennis. And this is what happens when I don't have a co-host, because my brain cannot handle everything on its own. So check out Green Lantern Earth 1 when you head out to your local comic shop. That should be on everyone's list. Let's see what else we have here. Hi to Michael from Wapak. Thanks for tuning in. Jeff wants to know when we get Earth 1 Flash. I am not aware that any creative team has been announced for Earth 1 Flash, but these things seem to take several years to get going. So it's going to be a little while, I would think, before we see an Earth 1 Flash. Cody wants to know what's going on with the Sonic comic. Well, here's the scoop, Cody, on the Sonic comic. It is now being published by IDW. Sonic used to be published by Archie. It was that way for years and years. And it is now being published by IDW. It is going to come out, I believe, in April. A new number 1 issue will be out in April, and actually it's going to be weekly in April. So look for 4 or 5. I don't know how many weeks April has, how many Wednesdays April has, but there'll be at least 4 issues of Sonic on the stands by IDW Publishing, and then I believe it goes monthly after that first month of weekly shipping. So Sonic will return. It's in good hands with the people over at IDW Publishing. They do great work with the Hasbro universe, with Star Trek, with My Little Pony, so they're very familiar with licensed product. And so Sonic fans, get ready. I know that you're out there. I know that you're hungry for new material, and IDW is going to make sure that you have what you're looking for in April. That is it for this week. Man, it's weird doing this show solo. This is the first time, I think, first time in a long time that I've done the show without a co-host, especially without Josh. But if the stars align, we will be back next week, both of us, to talk about the week's best comics. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and share so that it can get in front of more people so they know what are the best comics to check out every week at their local comic shop. And please support your local comic shop. They are ready to serve you. We are ready to believe you. That's it. I'm out of things to say, I think. Thank you, Ed, for complimenting me on doing a good job. I feel off my game this week. I feel off my game without my co-host. So that is it. I will say farewell, and we'll see you again real soon.